Welcome back to the Inner All Life podcast. We are so excited that you are here to join us today. We only have two more self-cares left that we are covering. And honestly, there's probably if you really wanted to break it
We have
down, there's
three,
probably even
but-
more.
Well, we have two more after this. Is that what you meant?
No,
Yeah, we didn't do spiritual self-care and we have social self-care.
we have three more left. And honestly, if you really looked at it and broke it down, there's probably even more than 8 or the 9 that we've now spoken about, kind of, sort of. But today's self-care, no, before we get into that, here's some messages from our Sierra.
Oh, well, I'm trying to come up with my best commercial voice. If you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, make sure you come on down. It is work-life balance for empowered, unstoppable women, and it's pretty freaking epic. I mean, right now, there are women in the group watching us record live before this even airs. And then they get all of the antics that we cut and the little nuggets that we give away of what's coming up. So join us there. It's pretty awesome. The one requirement is that you have to be a woman, and then you also have to be encouraging, because if you're going to be a troll, you're not welcome there. It is a safe space full of women who share what's really going on in their life, who share their dreams, their goals, their struggles, their triumphs, all of it. So join us there. There's a link in the show notes. We would love to have you. And also, please don't forget to rate and review and subscribe to our podcast wherever you're listening. You can also catch it on YouTube, but just by simply giving us a rating, like just clicking 5 stars, that one little click gives us a lot more traction, a lot more growth, and we can reach more ears, which helps spread our message, which we're pretty freaking proud of. So we hope you love it too and want to spread it.
Yes. So all of that being said, thank you, because, pregnancy brain. Today's self-care that we're talking about is physical self-care. And now Sierra and I, or at least I slightly, I don't know if yours is slightly or more than slightly, disagree with the post we've been following.
Yeah.
Of what that looks like. But so what they said, I do agree with the definition they gave, which is the actions we take to enhance our physical well-being, because it's taking care of our bodies. Obviously, it's physical. So it's doing what feels good and what is good for our whole bodies, so that we're taken care of, and we can, again, I feel like all self-care is present you being able to be thanked by future you for whatever it is that you've done that has made your future self so grateful. Oh my gosh, this is so much better. This feels so much better. I am able to do more of what I love, or whatever that is. So it's definitely taking care of ourselves, but the examples they give, which I guess they could technically somewhere fall in, I don't know. One of them is cleaning your closet, which I feel falls into more practical.
Yeah, we covered cleaning your space.
Yeah.
And so it is a physical activity, but I think it's more of a practical, it helps your practical well-being, because
unless it's you got really heavy clothes and you're lifting, maybe I'll give them that.
Or if I guess if you really love organizing, then you're physically doing, it's keeping you active. It's some people freaking love, my mother-in-law she visits the Container Store on the weekly. She freaking loves the organizational process, and it involves going up and down the stairs to the basement and all of that. So
yes,
if it is a thing that is gets
that
you
makes
excited,
you be physical.
Yeah.
It understood. Keeps you moving. Yeah. That's so funny. Jess was just telling me yesterday about how she wants to, this is Jessica on the podcast talking about my best friend, Jess. She loves organizing like that. She's if I could just do that, that's one of my things. I'm
yeah,
good. But yeah, if it becomes literally a physical thing, sure. But just actually the act of cleaning out your closet, I would say falls under practical. But the other one they give is, and I feel like this is something that people it's more of a surface self-care, or the
Mhm.
thing that everyone thinks is self-care when it's not necessarily a self-care action for everyone. But it's getting your nails done.
Mhm.
So like that is, one, it is literally physically touching you, whether it's going somewhere or doing it yourself. So it's like kind of like a tender care touch thing.
Mhm.
And, keeping your nail beds and your toes healthy, which is also great and it feels nice. But I think more of the physical self-care ideas go deeper than that.
Like what?
So like just physically taking care of your body. So again, like I said, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a year from now, whatever it is, you're like, wow, I feel like you wake up in the morning, you're like, I feel great. And the reason, like physically great and have energy and ready to go. And part of that is because you've taken care of your body. Like either you like whatever workout you do or dance or eating
Going for a
healthy,
walk.
washing your body every single day.
Yes.
I mean, like stuff that takes care of you, that future you, however far in the future, is like, whoa, I just went up that flight of stairs and didn't even think about it. Like that was nothing. Or wow, I just carried my 5-year-old on my back and it made them super excited. And I feel really good and not out of breath. And like that's
Mhm.
like fueling. So I feel like that's more of the physical. I'm not taking away from getting your nails done or getting a massage because I also like that's something that I really love to do. And I feel like it's taking care of me that makes me feel good.
Mhm.
So I think, I don't know, there's like the deeper level and like the maybe slightly more surface level that actually speaks to you. Like if you don't like
Mhm.
getting a massage, don't go get a massage just to be like, oh, I hashtag self-care, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like a lot of times we put this, like we put this pedestal of self-care as like these are the things that you have to do to self-care, which
Mhm.
includes like bubble baths, getting your nails done, massages, and stuff like that. So I think like when we talk about this one and we specifically mention getting your nails done, I don't think it's the act of getting your nails done because you have to get your nails done. I think it is like what you said of physically feeling better. Like,
Mhm.
okay, so for me, my first physical self-care was really learning to eat well and exercise well. Because when
Mhm.
I was in high school and college, I didn't know. Like I was on
Correct.
the freaking rowing team for my college and I still didn't know how to eat well or exercise correctly. I would push myself way too hard in order to hit the things I needed to hit. And then I'd go throw up because I pushed myself too hard versus like understanding how to really get healthier. And meanwhile, while I was like doing all of that, I was eating like mini chocolate donuts because I thought that would give me more energy to be able to row faster. Like I was so screwed up because nobody actually taught me how to physically take care of myself. And so when we talk about physical self-care, I think it's super important to remember that it's like up leveling your current situation. So if right now you've been inside a lot and you usually sit on the couch and watch a ton of TV, then your level of physical self-care might be going for a walk. It might be just taking a shower regularly, like it might be getting back into that. COVID was weird and it like, yes, we're kind of through it, but also like a lot of people are still suffering the after
The
effects
habits
of
they
it.
got into.
Yeah. So there's
Mhm.
people, like if you're stuck in depression or you have anxiety about going out, or you just got like, lack of a better word, like you got kind of lazy because you didn't have to put on pants every day, like you get into these habits of, like not like more sloth like habits. And so it's just up leveling whatever it is you need to do. You kind of like what we talked about in your birthday episode, like do it, just step into it and take care of it. So anyway, so there's that, like the smaller things. And then, but I think like, so, okay. So first for me personally, like I said, I took better care of my physical health and better care of my, like what I was eating, what I was ingesting into my body, which is also physical health. And then from there, like, okay, I started learning how to dress the way I liked better. Again, in college, did not have any sort of fashion, so like then it became more of that. And now I feel like physically I mean, I still, I go through phases, like I'm about to go like push myself again to like start working out more. We go through phases, but like I have a general sense of what working out looks like. But now I'm at the next level where it's like, well, okay, what else can I do? So now I do get my nails done regularly. Whereas I just started doing that a year ago because it's that next little up level of, it makes me, I don't do it because, well, for one, it is relaxing to go to the nail salon. But for two, I do it because I feel really good when I look at my nails and they're put together versus like, polish chipping off or bitten all down to the core. Like I take care of them and I feel professional and I feel elegant and like all of these things that help me physically, my physical well-being feel better. And that's why I do it. So I think if you can find a way to physically feel your best and like, but again, one step at a time.
Whatever your best is too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
even I had a friend recently who I don't think she would like typically wore makeup all that much, which isn't a big deal. But she was like, I've started to just put on like a little bit of like lip gloss and mascara because it makes me feel good. I was like,
Mhm.
that's the exact perfect reason to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a friend who recently started wearing a certain color more often because it's her power color. And so she's able to like, she feels more confident when she wears green. So she wears green more often. And it's like, yes, like do that, wear the color. Like, who cares if you wear green every day? If it makes you feel like a badass, wear green every day, step into what makes you feel good. And it doesn't have to be the standard getting your nails done. Like, yeah, that feels good for me. But like, Jess, you don't go get your nails done regularly, right?
No.
No, because it doesn't feel like, it doesn't give you that same,
But I
whatever
get
it does for me.
massages more regularly now because I purposely took care of my financial self-care so that I have the money to go get massages regularly because that makes it's relaxing. It makes me feel good. Then like I'm not sitting at my desk every day or standing at the desk or doing anything. And I'm like, oh man, I just wish I could get a massage. Like I've gotten it and and I know that I can get another one next month.
Yeah. That's my, do you get one like monthly?
Not monthly. I do it at least like 4 times a year right now.
Yeah.
Is where I'm at.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it really is stepping into whatever your physical best self can be. And like Jess said, so that in the future you can be like, oh, thank God I did that. Because sometimes too, we guilt ourselves out of it. Like, I'm not going to because it costs too much. I don't have the time. It's selfish of me to get my nails done when I should be with my kids or should be spending that money on my kids or whatever. We tell ourselves all these sorts of excuses. And like Jess could say the same thing about getting a massage. But right now, like Jess's muscles feel great and she's able to play more often with her kid because her muscles feel good and she's not sore and tired and whatever.
And even though, like 9 months pregnant, not 7, 8 months pregnant, and like I feel good because I'm taking care of my body. Like I'm still working out, so I have the energy to do the things that I need and want to be doing. I'm like, damn,
I feel like that's
thanks. Like I fully am prepared and believe that a month or 2 postpartum, I'm gonna be like, damn, thanks, Jessica, of the past 10, 11 months for sticking to taking care of yourself. So you feel really freaking good now for both of your kids to like have fun with them and do the things that you want to do.
And a note on that, like for just to show what a difference it makes. I've had 2 kids. The first kid, I was super, super active. I was working outside. I wasn't at a desk. And like with my 5-year-old, I went hiking, sort of running the day I was due or the day before I was due. Like on a mountain, like hiking. I was trying to take pictures of beating a sunset. So I was running down the hill at one point, fully pregnant, running. With my second, I was on bed rest because I sat and I didn't take care of myself. And I didn't put forth that extra effort of like trying to stay physical because I was like newly in an office and I didn't really know how to balance that yet. And it wore on me. I gained more weight. I wasn't as healthy and I was on bed rest. When it wasn't like, I fully believe it was because I wasn't as active. And so I had all these weird complications. So you really have to look, like a lot of times, like I said, we can talk ourselves out of doing the thing, but because of an immediate consequence. Immediately I will lose funds or I will spend money. Like immediately my bank account will decrease.
Mhm.
Immediately I will not spend that hour with my child. However, if you look at it long-term, okay, long-term, I've set up the finances, so it's okay if my bank account decreases. Long-term, I missed out on an hour with my child. However, because I feel better about myself and have more energy, I can now spend 3 well-meaning hours with them
Mhm.
versus the one half exhausted one because I'm physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted because I'm not giving to myself. And like ultimately that's what self-care is about, is giving to yourself so you have more energy and excitement to like do amazing things with your life.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like immediately the finances are gone, but go ahead and listen to what was it, last week's episode or the week
I think it was 2 weeks
before, two
ago.
weeks ago episode of financial self-care where you set yourself up so that you don't feel that way.
Mhm.
And as far as like spending time with your kid or family or friends, that one's coming up too. We'll talk about social self-care and how that way it doesn't become a thing of, oh man, I'm missing out, because you're not. Like you've already had it or you have it planned. So
Yeah.
there's no missing. It's all puzzle pieces that fit together to make a whole you.
Mhm.
And I was thinking of one more physical self-care thing while we were talking that I learned over time is taking care of, like, especially what, like, I'm not about like depriving myself of like things to eat or sweets and stuff like that, but just being smart in portions and all of that. And I'm not about like, oh, because I ate a donut, I need to run a mile kind of thing. And I'm all about taking care of my physical body, but knowing how your body works so that you don't get sick. Or if you start to feel sick, notice, like I'll like if I start to feel like that tickle in my throat, I'll be like, you know what? I did have like more sugar this week. And I know that sugar affects my immune system, like personally. And I think I'm pretty sure it's like scientific that it affects it, but I know personally it affects it, or getting a little less sleep affects it. And so, when I was a teenager, I didn't think about that stuff. And if I was feeling like I was getting sick, should I have gone to bed? Yeah. But no, I went out and like hung out with my friends instead and then got deathly sick and missed out on lots of things. So
Mhm.
instead, like knowing yourself and your body and how you feel and being like, okay, I need to step it up a little here, not eat as much sugar, go to sleep early
Head on
tonight
time.
so
Yeah.
that I don't miss out on more.
It's funny you say that because a couple weeks ago we were fighting off COVID and it was just me and my 2-year-old Gray that had COVID. And this last week, my 5-year-old Errol woke up with a fever and I'm like, oh God, it's COVID. Here we go. Here we go. Buckle in. It's back. And my husband's like, no, I really think it's just that he's run down, because my husband has sworn his whole life that like his mother-in-law will say, or not his mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, his mom will say the same thing, that like when my husband was young, if he wore himself out, he would get a fever. And I even saw it happen a couple years ago. He was like working himself to the bone and he was putting new flooring in our house and he's like, I'll just do one more room. And then the next day he had a fever and had to call out of work. And he said, he's like, I just worked myself, like I overdid it. And so I
Yeah.
took my 5-year-old into the doctor to get tested for COVID. And I said, is it possible for him to get a fever from being worn down? Like, it sounds crazy, but is that a possibility? And she said, it happens to more people than you think, because your immune system, like when you're worn down, your immune system is also worn down and it can't fight off the tiny little things that it fights off every day when you're healthy or when you're well, like when you're energized. And so when you're exhausted, your immune system's weak and it's like, nope, I'm done. Give me a nap and I'll start working again.
Yeah.
But for now, you can let the fever fight it off because I'm at it. So
yeah, the food, like the amount of certain types of food that we eat, the exhaustion and stress, like stress plays into it too.
For
So
sure.
like knowing yourself and kind of like starting to realize those patterns really helps. And then listening to those patterns.
Yeah.
So that you don't miss out. You don't feel like death and miss out on things.
I wanted to say one other thing too, when it comes to like the physical aspect. I think there's certain things that we just let slide because like, whatever, I'll deal with it later because we don't have the energy to deal with it now. And I think a lot of times if we act on those things now versus dealing with it later, it helps us so much more in the long run. So for example, like, I used to do this all the time about painting my nails. I feel like I never have time to like sit down and actually paint them because I've got 2 young kids. And so like they'll get messed up and it won't work out. So I would always just be like, oh, I'll paint my nails later. I'll paint my nails later. Or like, it could be taking a shower. Oh, I'll take a shower tomorrow. Or for like dyeing my hair, right? Like I had this like gray streak for the longest time. And every time I brush my hair, I'm like, oh, I got to do this. But Jess and I talk about this all the time. First of all, the act of thinking about the task that you have to do is such a time suck. Like you're thinking about it constantly. Every time, like when I brush my hair every day for, the month that I wasn't dyeing it, when I kept wanting to, I kept thinking, oh, I got to dye my hair. And how many times did I think of that? How much of a like mental time suck was that? But then secondly, if you just take care of it right away, then you feel better versus like, when you look in the mirror and there's that thing like, or you smell yourself and you're like, oh, I haven't taken a shower in a while. Like there's little indicators that our minds and our bodies tell us like, hey, this thing needs to get done. And I'm saying more vain things like painting my nails or dyeing my hair, but like it could be, sorry, I hear my echo, so it's throwing me off. It could be something as simple as like taking a shower or like things that you just, if you're in a place of like depression, hardship, anxiety, and you're not doing like the basic needs, your body is telling you to do it. And when you do it, even though it feels like exhausting in whatever level, like whether it's basic or heightened, if you're telling yourself over and over that I should do this, like cut out the waste of time, cut out the waste of energy, get it done because you'll feel amazing as soon as it's done. And then you can stop thinking about it and you can take that off your mental load. And that in itself is an act of mental self-care. The fact that you did the physical thing you've been thinking about doing.
Or even the like, you've been thinking about it, like you dyeing your hair. So that's a good example. Like you wake up, the next morning and you think it again. It's not like you can literally stop right then and there probably and dye your hair, but you can schedule it in. Put it like if you do it at home, write it on the grocery list and then schedule the day that you're going to do it and time so that you can stick to it. And then you don't have to think about it again then either. Cause like it's on the list, you're going to get it next time you go to the store and then you have it written down when you're going to do it. So it's going to get done.
And if it's something that you do regularly, like dyeing your hair, getting a haircut, any of it, whatever the case may be, like realize how often you have to do it and schedule it out. Like I know my husband's cousin cuts our hair. She was on the podcast, Ariel, if you caught that episode. She cuts our hair, or she cuts the boys' hair. And it's so hard to get in with her. And so it used to be that we'd like struggle to get in with her last minute, but now we just know Jay has to get his haircut every 6 weeks. So he books it out as far in advance as possible. One less thing to think about. And it's like, it's done. Like, it's done. It's taken care of.
Yep. I think we did it.
What another episode. What another episode.
Yes. What another episode.
Well, thanks for tuning in. We love having you here. We really appreciate that you keep coming back. Like I mentioned already, join our Facebook group, Work-Life Balance for Empowered Unstoppable Women. Rate, review, and subscribe. And then if you'd like to be part of the show, send us a clip of what balance means to you. You can send that to hello@inrawlife.com and we might feature you at the beginning of our show.
Until next week, I want you to pick just one physical thing that you can do for yourself. It can be a huge thing like I'm going to start working out 5 minutes every morning if you don't do that already, or I'm going to have one less snack a day if that's what feels like you need, or I'm going to go to sleep half an hour earlier, or I'm going to take my shower the same time every single day. Something small or something big that you can do and commit to so that you can tell yourself thank you 1 week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks from now. And then let me know what it is because I want to tell you thank you for you.
Bye.